Hello. And hello. So many things. So where am I? Where am I and what's even happening? I'm over here. Ooh. Cast. Cast it is. Let me go join them. If I could. Cast it is. Which is right over here. Which is right over here. Right? Over here. Yep. Let's get some loot. My goal is to get at least one cool thing. Whatever the cool thing might be. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? I know you want to leave me, but I refuse to let you go. Oh no. Where am I going? Around. Okay, so I'll I'll eat my food. And these are corrupted. Yep, corrupted. And honing stone. So very nice. And then the rabbit foot. Let me check in here. Okay, so now it's time to loot. I think I might change my build over. Let's get over here really quick for extra super luck until there's enemies, and then I'll swap it back over. But I probably have to move my build over to dexterity. Okay, solvent and tannin. Dark hide. Everybody's dead. And then bada boom. Rid of Andy. Now it's time to catch up. Okay. And then we go up. And over here. Right here. Right here. Right there. Over under. Okay, swapping over. I gotta swap my build over again. Intelligence? No. Respect. Dexterity. Oh my gosh. I'm a sitting duck. Come on. There we go. So now I can actually fight the corrupted. With this thrust damage mixed with some arcane. You know? Gotta be careful. Awesome. I like to burn my spirit people. It's really cool. Tomatoes and rice. No, how dare you. How dare he? Okay, destruction glyph. Okay. The destruction glyph. We're getting lots of destruction glyphs over here. That's for certain types of ring glass. I knocked them on the ground. Yeah. I just need better corruption trophies. I think I have one major corrupted trophy. I think I bought it too. It just costs them much. But eventually I'll buy them. I already have 3 of the major gathering trophies. You know, the combined ones. I'm just trying to get a bunch of the different everything else. Some of these overall trophies are cheaper than others. I'm trying to snatch them up and everything. Or cheaper in you know, farming and all that, and cheaper in just buying to buy the components. Would you like an encumbrance booster, sir? I'm carrying encumbrance boosters on me. Saving the people. A nice hearty ECR right now. Ooh, a golden scarab. Where's my dog? I just saw that Superman movie. I think I should watch it again. You know? It might be better the second time I watch it. Because the first time I watched it, it wasn't really the first time. My first exposure was through a bunch of clips. You know? So my first viewing was kind of weird. It was just remembering what the clips were, and then, you know, I have my own concept for what the movie was based upon what I've seen through clips, and then that was overridden by the movie, but there's still some overlap and confusion. So I should watch the movie again just to wipe any memory of my first impression away and then rebuild it. Now that I know what the movie's really all about, I can go back through and appreciate it with a new... So I should probably do that. I should probably watch the Superman movie again. And that would be my advice, perhaps, if it works out. Gotta poke him to death. Finally, the Mabel cabinet plan. After all this time. Oh. It's actually kind of hurting him. My little fat legs. Not today. You can kind of jump just over your height. Or just over how high you think you could jump. Oh yeah. I am the knight. It's a big bag. It's kind of funny. Ambrosia's burden. It might be good. Who knows? That's a very specific named thing. What's special about it? Nothing. I don't think. Destruction glyph. Yeah. We just want the stacked deck loaded dice, you know. That would be nice. Whoops. Oh no. Son of a mother. Oh god. This sucks. So we're almost done here. No. No, oh god. And hail. Stop it. Fine. If you want it, here it is. Now you want to leave, you piece of garbage? I was waiting for them to retreat. Where are we going now? Where are we going now? Wall? Wall. Starting it in 3 minutes. Gotcha. We're heading to the wall. I don't like the wall sometimes. The wall is very annoying to try to catch up to. Hey, Drag Dog! Yeah, I didn't make it last night. I didn't quite make it. Alright, so we're heading down to the wall. I said the wall sucks to try to catch up to. Okay. These punks. I don't even know. Hey there, Chris. I was saying a little bit ago that I think I want to rewatch the Superman movie. And I sort of recommend that for everybody that's been corrupted by various video clips on the internet. Oh. Whoa. Because, you know, I saw the movie, but I've also seen a bajillion clips about the movie. So this part's confusing. Some of these guys skip the entire lower quadrant for some reason, and they stand over there in one spot, and then they start, and they move that way. But then some people go this way, and they go up and around, and then down, and do this basement portion, and then up to a level through a room, and then you meet up with these guys. And it sucks. Oh. Anyways. Papa Shans. So I was saying that I might want to rewatch the Superman movie. Because my first viewing, the entire time I was watching the movie, I was just thinking about my impression I had when I first saw the clips. Because the clips show quite a bit of the movie when you stitch them all together. I just didn't know the particular order of the clips. And so my first movie was just redigesting my knowledge of the clips I already had. So my second viewing will be appreciating the movie, as opposed to remembering with the clips and looking for the next moment and so forth and so on. Yeah, the one with crypto, it's on HBO Max. I saw it the other day, and I'm saying I sort of want to watch it again. All right, this is how we do eat. Oh yeah. Sha-la-la-la-lo-lo-lo-lo. Am I in combat? Oh no, 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 no. With a hi and ho and ho and hum. The I bring the noise. Do you hear me? It has been brought. And then these are ancients. And we still have the honing stone. I have arrived. Yes, I'm not going to talk too much about the Superman movie until it's been out for a bit longer. Okay, here there is the above glyph. The above glyph. The last spot had the destruction glyph. I'm trying to see what is unique about each location. This one, there's certain glyphs. Bye-bye. Whoa, let me back up for a second. And I guess there's a chance for a golden scarab. Okay. And howdy ho. And a ho ho hey hum. You know, I try to avoid spoilers, really. I don't want to, know anything about a movie before watching it. But sometimes if a movie's really far out and they reveal some sort of... It's just sort of hard to avoid sometimes because it's more about the discussion around the leak or around the clip, that you're part of. And there's a whole community of people talking about something. And it's based upon clips and everything. And some of the clips are really short, and you watch them really quick, and then some are longer, and it'll say the entire fight sequence for blah, blah, blah. It's really the entire fight sequence, And you try to avoid watching it, but it auto-plays, and You see a bit of it, you unmute it for a second, you hear some corny music. It's like, okay, let me watch this for a second. Or the entire argument between Lois Lane and Clark Kent. Or the entire monologue with Superman, where he talks about being human. That whole thing. And then, by the time you watch the movie, and you're watching it, you realize there's very little in the movie that you haven't already potentially been exposed to. So it really does corrupt the first viewing, and you really got to watch it a second time, I think. You watch it the first time, and you're just thinking about all the clips and about your opinion. When you first saw the clip, about your first impression, you're thinking about the first impression. But you're still watching the movie, and you're still, keeping track of the events in the movie and everything. You're still paying attention. So that when you watch the movie the second time, now you're just thinking about the movie. More so than the buzz around the initial exposure to that clip in general. Or about other people's opinions about that sort of thing in general. For example, there's a fight sequence with Mr. Terrific and whatever, he uses these balls and whatever. Fight sequence. But it features like the James Gunn music situation where he's playing some corny music, like some lighthearted pop folk music, while there's a big old action sequence, It's happening in Guardians of the Galaxy and all kinds of stuff where it's like a fun little thing. Yeehaw. Or some non-violent song is playing during a bloodbath. It could be Frank Sinatra, but it's a non-violent song during a bloodbath sort of thing. So if you're watching the first clip, you might be thinking of that, or about like James Gunn's direction style, or like, who is this guy anyways? And like, what are they even wearing? Like you're critiquing little superficial details about the clip. The second time you watch it, you're thinking about the character and what he's actually doing, and the technology of his attacks, and you're thinking about the actual, like, from a comic book sense, from a storyline sense. The first impression, you're thinking about the director, and you're nitpicking details about costumes and whatever. You know what I mean? I gotta wait for these dudes. This is El Dorado, Penny. It's in the stream title. Why are they all in this room? I'm taking their sweet time. I was already over there. Maybe I skipped a room. After you. After you. I ain't no leader. I'll be right on your heels. Right. Yep, I'm just starting off the stream with some chest run action. Hoping for the occasional good thing. And I'm trying to keep track of what's available. Last two spots I've had special glyphs. Back out of here for a second. And let me move right back over to actually, whoops, 1 second. Oh my god. 2. And you're a newbie? Define newbie. Are you talking about Anubis, the dog-headed Egyptian god? Is that what you mean by newbie? Are you Egyptian? I'm in combat because I touched that guy with my fire for 3 seconds. Are we doing Merc next? Let's find out. We're almost done here. I just wanted to swap my build over. I just went... I was just using that hammer and the blunderbuss for a second because I was fighting a bunch of ancients here. You know? Wasting my buffs. I like to contribute to the battle and not just run by everything sometimes. Even though it's fine to run by a thing, sometimes you get caught up in battle. It's sort of a selfish thing to run by all the enemies, but that's what most people do. It's just knowledge that eventually somebody has to fight that group because it's going to eventually start fighting whoever's at the box, and you're it's sort of like you're hoping that the bear doesn't get you. The bear gets the guy behind you. And everyone's doing that. It's just a knowledge that, you know, you're trying to get the box before the enemy gets you and stops you from getting the box. But if the enemy's right there, they're coming closer, and you're running away, and there's guys right behind you, clearly the enemy is going to be either following you and then resetting and then attacking the guys back of the box, or just running and attacking the guys back of the box. But eventually the enemy will be attacking somebody at the box. And since you're there first, you can either choose to clear the enemy as you run by, and then once you, like this, and once you clear, usually other people join you, you know? But if you ignore, everybody ignores. It's like a contagious sort of thing. People jump on the bandwagon. Oh, Penny, how long have you been playing? Yeah. Okay, where are we going now? Where are we going now? Probably Merc. Where are we going? Imperial Palace. Okay, Imperial Palace. Let me teleport right on back home. Somewhere. You see, 1 week ago, you started playing 1 week ago and you're wondering what the best possible perk combination is for the Fire Staff and Ice Gauntlet combo. You shouldn't be concerned about such things. That's my answer. Be more concerned about general, non-contradictory utility or defensive perks and stats that complement Ice Gauntlet and Fire Staff, i.e. intelligence. And we're going to the Imperial Palace. You know, don't try to focus too much on getting the best in slot combination of offensive perks that complement the Fire Staff and whatever. You know what I mean? Your goal is just to do enough to play longer, and then you will eventually get better gear. A great route for good gear would be the doubloons from Cutlass Keys, because you can target a slot and you pay 250 doubloons for a piece of armor and 375 or something for a weapon or trinket. And then if you set your magnify to what you're looking for, then more of that gear will show up. You keep on looking at things. It doesn't have to be an exact science yet. That's more of like a later game thing, beyond 1 week. Okay? You should be concerned with all the meat. I shouldn't tell you what you should be concerned of, but you know. You're asking me what the best is of something. Basically, if you want a subjective opinion about what the best is for something, that's the answer that you get. If you want an objective answer of what the scientific min-max best in slot is, go check the internet, which I'm sure you already have. So you already know the answer, and you're just trying to quiz me or something, which I consider to be trolling. That's why I asked how long you've been playing, because I don't believe any of this darn conversation right now. That's why I'm very skeptical. A person will ask me my opinion about something, but they already know the answer, and they just want to see what I have to say. That they're trying to quiz me or something. And I'm trying to point out that if you're looking for the best in slot on something, it's probably a bad thing. And that you have a lot of learning to do in general. You're trying to cheat your way. It's not cheating, but you're trying to skip a lot of gameplay of systematic experimentation and discovery. You know? Technically, you can make it to level 65 relatively quickly. You know? And then fill in the gaps afterward. And those are big gaps. But see, the number 65, then you have access to gear. You find a way to make money. And then you make your money, and then you buy things to make yourself stronger. According to a shopping list on the internet, you know, it says go buy these items, and then do this, use these skills, and attack in this order, and go to these spots, and then whatever, you know. Using the internet as a reference is fine. Just, it's corruptive, and it only cheats yourself a little bit. I think it's always more satisfying to discover something on your own. But eventually, it's okay to look things up, I think. But it shouldn't be early. I don't know the exact time frame. But you should know, I guess. Maybe not you. But a player should know eventually when it's time to look something up. And if you do it immediately, I don't know. Immediate's relative, though. It's not really immediate if you're playing different games, and all these different games have generally similar mechanics. You know, you can apply the knowledge of one thing to another, or how you might clear out a survival game. It sort of applies across the board, so it's not like immediate. It's years of knowledge and experience building up. Okay, well, you haven't bought the DLC yet, you're stuck at level 60. Well, there you go. you can look right here at the attribute sheet, and it shows you which weapons work with which stats. And you can see the rapier, is the only one that has intelligence on it. But you can make a melee weapon work with intelligence if you add the right gem, like a ruby. Will give it fire damage and make the weapon attune with intelligence for damage. If you have like a weapon that only works with strength, if you put a ruby in it, it'll have fire damage and it'll work with intelligence. But at a 65% rate, it'll scale with 65% as opposed to 100%. Now, this axe I'm using, the Abyss, I forgot how I got it. This one scales 100% with intelligence. It's amazing. As opposed to 65%. So I'm able to use a Fire Staff and Great Axe combo without any loss. You know what I mean? And I'm really doing it because of this double dash thing. I like that fire dash, I like the axe dash, and then this thing has some nice crowd control with that. And then with this, you kind of pull them in. And this is pretty darn deadly. And this is as well when I'm right on top of people. But this combo of those two together is pretty effective in catching up and running away, especially in PvP and everything. I can turn the corner. Now, I said the whole thing about offensive perks and everything, like what's the best perks to use for fire stat. It's really a complicated question, and it really is more so about defensive and utility perks. And there's only so many, you know what I mean? But it seems like Enchanted Ward is one of the better perks that goes on your armor that reduces the damage of light and heavy attacks. Okay? Then there's other perks that reduce elemental damage. There's perks that reduce specifically thrust or strike or slash damage. You know, there's perks that reduce specific fire or nature or ice or whatever damage. You know what I mean? There's cooldown perk. There's max stamina. There's stamina regen of some variety. It really depends on how you're sort of playing a little bit. See, Enchanted Ward, cooldown reduction, max health, luck is really nice, right? Life leeching, hardy for max stamina, but hardly ever an actual offensive perk. I was using the, what's it called, the Flim Flam Gravity Well, the Devastating Gravity Well, or sorry, the Insatiable Gravity Well perk that enhanced this attack and gave it extra healing, you know. And there's lots of perks that work with different things, like to make the fire burn longer, for example. Or whatever. Your burn lasts longer, you know, or disease lasts longer. And there's lots of options. And there's so many options to consider. You just got to keep your eyeballs open. But for the most part, just be focused on defensive and utility, because gear is going to be replaced. You just started playing, you know, and as long as there's no contradictions. Like with the cooldown perk, it's only four of the items can have that. And so you sort of want to fill up that criteria where it says, it'll say like stacks 1 out of 4, 4 out of 4, you know? And you sort of don't want perks that are for some other weird class. I mean, there are some good perks out there. I just don't want to give you the wrong advice, because it's for a very specific build. That there's lots of really good perks for offensive stuff, okay? I don't want to be misleading here. But you'll be exposed to more perks of the defensive and utility nature, and it might be more effective for your overall flim plan. Even though a specific offensive perk for a very specific ability might be more guild essential, more build essential. Like, the build might center around some sort of ability that you unlock. But that is more of like a second layer thought after you build your character up. You have to be able to survive and have your cooldowns and all that nonsense up here and there a little bit. There's different ways to survive. There's, light, medium, heavy armor. You have a combination of them, and you're trying to stay within a certain range. It sure is nice to roll, but you don't have to roll. You can bunny hop or sidestep, And it's about this number down here, the physical and elemental armor. Under 1,000 starts to get kind of scary. You see right here it says light, and there's a meter right here that shows different weights for your different categories. And it shows you what it means to have light, medium, or heavy armor. Like, there's more damage, for example. And there's other weird buffs with heavy armor at sacrifice of mobility. And you'd think that if you just roll around a lot, you just avoid damage. And that is sort of the goal. Like, to roll away from damage, or to time the rolls correctly and dodge. It really is like a dance here. And Constitution appears to be pretty darn amazing. Because you can have light armor and high Constitution and be pretty tanky. Or you can go heavy armor and then low Constitution. And then have the buffs from the heavy armor compensate for the low Constitution. There's also this other level of Flim Flam with the rune glass. It's a weird thing. I believe the only rune glass crafting table is in Brimstone Sands at the capital, New Corsica, I believe. And you're able to make different variants of gems, like whatever, to add some extra bonus, like extra specific kind, like void damage, fire damage, or whatever. Or I have life leeching on mine, but there's a big list of these things, like extra melee damage, extra range damage. It's just small percentages, but these percentages add up, And there's also all the other buffs that matter. If you're wondering about how to maximize your effectiveness, these other buffs, there is the attribute food to raise up one of your stats up to 48. But you're not level 65. I do recommend the expansion eventually, because the mount's pretty important. And then, as you see here, everybody's level 65, so everybody has the expansion. You have to get it eventually. Look, I'm just worried whenever a person asks me what the best is of something, and they just started playing a game. I'm trying to keep them on the right track here. A well-made game has no best. It should all be conditional and contextual and role specific, which is also conditional and contextual. Because what if they're really needing a healer and there is no healer, and now the game can't continue because there is no healer? Well, it'd be nice if you had an alternate build as a healer. That's a nice thing. So you start to build toward that. And let's just say that sometimes there's reasons to have extra focus, which is what healing is all about. So if you already have high focus, you might as well equip a life staff and then do some casual healing on the side. And then you realize that certain enemies actually take more damage from life. Like the Lost, they take extra damage from the life damage. You know what I mean? So it's actually pretty good in the offensive, and all of a sudden you realize that there's a need for this roll. You can go life staff and mace, or life staff and whatever. My point is that if a person said, "What's the best build in New World?" Well, that's best for clearing out content quickly from a cliff. I don't know, some range thing. But is that best for PvP? Because what if you get surrounded by 15 people? You know? It's very conditional. Sometimes it's fun to be vaguely immortal and then run into a group of enemies and like tease them for a bit and dance and then systematically kill them one by one. You know? Like to be able to survive long enough to survive a fight versus like 5 people and then systematically kill them one by one because you know that you're chipping away their life and they're not healing in time and that you have a whole lot of life and you have a lot of methods to heal yourself. And that's a whole different dynamic than being a ranged guy chipping away the enemies with some brutal, devastating range attacks and nuking them out and then having ways to sort of slow them down and escape. I understand the ice, you put it on the ground, you know, now you become immortal for a second with your ice block and then you sort of escape and dash away. You know, I know, but it really is about escaping and dashing away and then doing some fancy stuff up close a little bit and then escaping and dashing away and then hitting him again. It's a whole different concept though, you know? Like, I'm really enjoying this dynamic here with this great axe and fire staff, but the attack speed is sort of slow. It's like a weird chunky sort of combat system. And my basic range attacks with the fire staff are not strong enough. It's really just about pulling them toward me a little bit. I'm sort of heading toward them with my attacks. With my, you know. And then I catch them up, and then I pull them toward me. And then I get in with the fire, and I trim them off, you know? And you get like a big double whammy. It's a whole different dynamic from like a hatchet or a rapier that has a pretty fast attack speed. Whole different thing. But if you chain certain attacks together, it's sort of faster than just attacking. But I like the fact that in this game, different enemies sort of need different weapon systems for full effectiveness. You gotta use sort of thrust attacks with arcane or whatever versus the corrupted, and the strike damage versus the ancients and lost, and slash versus the angry earth and humans. Where are we going? Are we doing Ada? Yeah. Yes. Long story short, too long don't read, I don't know. You happy? I said it. But I gave you the bigger answer. There's ways to find out, you know. You can look on the internet and look for the builds and see, and look at all the different builds and see what the common thing is between them, you know. And then I'm sure there's Reddit articles talking about this whole thing about what's the best, blah 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 blah, you know. And then to go down to the trading post and then look at all the perks and just look at them. Look at all of the material that you have. You see, here at my, we'll have to hurry up and catch up to these fools. But here, one second. You have all these mods, and they're for very specific perks. So you can kind of look at that over time as you pick things up. Reduce damage from light and heavy attacks, you see. Reduce max cooldowns, okay. Inflicts bleed on critical hit, okay. So forth and so on. And then something else might ask for a bleed. It's like, upon bleed, something happens. And then your mind triggers and says, oh yeah, I have something that provides bleed. That's good. Where are we going? Ada just started. No, it didn't. What are you talking about? Ada just started. What? Wait, was I kicked? Alright, I gotta catch up. I could remember where the boxes were. Okay. Closer and closer. Since I'm playing catch up, I'm gonna shift my build over to this one. This one's more about luck. I have luck on all my pieces as a perk, you know. Pretty important perk for this moment, and my rabbit's foot has worn off. For more luck. Gotta do this every so often, back to back for a while, as most of the gameplay. Sometimes I do just gathering, you know. I just gather for... That is crazy. Overflowing with phlegm. That's how much metal they're producing. So much is just overflowing into a trough. Yeah. Well done. Oh no. There we go. Turn around. Alright, let me swap my build back over and my boot. Right here. See, this is why I need money. Where's my money? Oh, come on. I'm being attacked? Let me do it. Why am I being attacked? Oh, no. I wasn't done swapping out my stuff here. They're here. Great. Wait, the boots? Done. We're getting flame cores. Right angle flaming. Move. That's a lot of people. Is there more than one raid here? Yeah. And then, but see, at least I have this heart rune that makes me attack faster for a little bit. Right here. Yeah. Maybe attack the human for a bit. I like how it's just a matter of time for some of these things. Like for this human shard thing. It's just eventually it'll drop. But every single time you kill them, you get a shard of the human trophy piece. Oop, not a cup. Ex-human. You take the good, you take the good, you take the good, you take the good. Do 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 do. Ah boy, a lot of people here. How many groups are here? I need to get my saltwater bait. Yep, I'll be announcing the time in just a bit. I like to move it, move it. It's time. Okay, and now I'll set my timer. Timer set. 5 minutes and 30 seconds. The boss will spawn. Alright. Mm-hmm. Come on. Four minutes until watch window. I'll swap my build over as well. Come on. Come on. Oh yeah. Oh, the ones that feels like it's forever. Here we go. All right. Come on. $130. Yes, sir. Oh boy. Come on. All right. Okay. We are now in the watch window. 30 seconds. Okay. All right. I'm gonna do this maybe 10 times. Every so often, you know. Yeah. I said you probably have time for one more kill. Four minutes. Plus 30. Yeah. How many times are they killing them? Forever. You know. How many times am I killing them? I'm about to walk away really quick. Penny. Well, I guess after this next one. So, if you're new here, what we're doing here is we're killing a very specific enemy. Sir, whatever his name is. That spawns right here on this ship. Because he drops this specific item called a human idol. Rarely. Severely rarely. But every time he dies, he drops a human idol shard. And 100 human idol shards can be turned into a human idol. Okay? And the human idol is used to create the major human trophy. Basically. For increased combat damage versus humans. Yeah, 3 in your, 3 out there, different houses. So, people do this forever. There's certain things that people do forever, and this is one of them. There should be a group here at all times, and there's a human version, there's a lost version, there is a corrupted version, and there is a Angry Earth version out there. But there isn't always a group at every single spot. Sometimes there's nobody at the Angry Earth area. There's generally somebody over there at the Lost area, you know. sometimes just a couple people over there at the corrupted area because it's in a dangerous area and it hurts you. But then for the angry, for the beasts, for the wildlife trophy, that one is just requires a rare bear trophy. A claw that drops off of a bear, basically, not a trophy. Okay, and to be clear, you're able to have a house in this game at the different territories. You can have one house per territory, only 3 houses, and the house gives you an extra point of fast travel. You know, normally I can't fast travel here because I'm not at a fast travel point, but I can fast travel to my inn wherever I've checked in at. So in every territory you can check into the inn, and you can recall to the inn from anywhere. But I can't fast travel to another spot unless it's the inn. But I can fast travel to my house. So the house gives you another point of universal fast travel, you see? I can fast travel to my house. In addition, the house provides extra storage at just that location, you know? And you can have a bunch of chests depending on the size of the house. You know what I mean? A bunch of chests. And then, in addition to all that, you have the trophies. And there's combat trophies, there's gathering trophies, and crafting trophies. Right now I have all the best gathering trophies out there, which increases my luck while scanning animals. I get extra body parts. While chopping down trees, I get special little wood things, and harvesting plants, you know, and fishing, all that stuff. In mining, I get extra jewels all the time. Yeah. We have now entered the watch window. Yeah. I already have a lot on me. That's weird. Why do I already have 13? Did maybe some other enemies in this compound also drop human idol shards? Anyways, I'll be right back. Okay. Yeah. I have to get some bait. Let me see here. I don't have any good bait here. Crazy. Earthworms. Using earthworms like a noob. Doing what I have to do to catch some fish. A fish is a fish. We have now entered the 30-second watch window. Using up all my salty fish. They call me Earthworm Jimbo. Deep sea earthworm farming. Yep, just a bunch of small mackerels. I'll just use up my earthworms and I'll head on back and grab my other bait. Whoa, look, there's a box. Ooh, sunken fishing gear. You probably catch fishing gear all the time through fishing. You know what I mean? Okay, let me... Oh boy. Next kill. Let me swap over to my other build. I'm wide awake. You know, maybe I should go to my, the focus situation. But I want to kill stuff. Okay. They're coming! Run! Run! Mm-hmm. Oh boy. Oh no, we're surrounded. Oh no, we're surrounded. Mm-hmm. Oh my god. Well, that sucks. I want you to make some, or get some, stuff anyways. Okay, so. I'll just miss that iteration. What sort of bait do I already have? You. You. Alright. That's all I wanted. I have 1,000 pounds of something. And you. Never fall. All the stuff here. It's crazy. 2 new plans. I think I know all these songs already. I'll put them away over in Monarch. Okay, the rest I'll just... do my thing. Gotta weave. Boom. That's gotta put away everything. So much. On the bullseye. Not all of this. Ever fall. Everything but a couple things, basically. Alright. Wait. All these runes here don't belong. And, ooh-wee, we're getting these seal shards and everything. It's coming together. Yep. Mm-hmm. That's all good. All good. All good. All good. Okay, over here to Brimstone Sands. And the furniture besides, well, just the trophies. Ooh, that was a good one. Some of the stuff might be worth some money. That thing doesn't belong. This chest doesn't belong. That place setting doesn't belong. Those jugs. And that and this. Hail, Gregory. I'll move this down to Tabernia. Done. And then my gems and jewelry. Brimstone. Nope. That's Evanscale Reach. Done. And I'm going to be fishing in just a second. I'll keep all these closed up. That's good. These are bad. Yes. Salvage. Drop that on the ground and say hello to my little friend. Last light, potion, transfer. And now we're done. I'm down to 422. Well, the final moment here with the food. We have the onion, the milk, the... oh, I guess the sugar now. The wheat for bread. We're not using salt that much right now. And string bean over here at the Windsward area. Let's see what we have. Hello. Oh. I did take everything, didn't I? I took all the food, didn't I? I did. All the food. Except for the stuff over here at Reekwater. I'll tell you that much. It's 1,000 pounds. Let's see if there's anything contradictory. The wheat. Maybe all the herb. I think. Like all the herb. Maybe the eggs too. All the herbs so I can combine them into the seasoning blend. The cabbage too. The ginger. We'll see if I have too much of something. I'll leave the onions here. Paprika, milk, and salt, and sugar, and mushroom. And that should be it. I'll leave the well, I'll take the coconut too. And the banana. Yeah, all that. Boom. Okay. What about... all the valuable stuff too. And the honey. And... how about just the game meat from the rabbits? Because I do need some just average meat every so often. Okay, there's all that. Boom. 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 You finished playing Alan Wake in Nightmare mode? I've never even played Alan Wake in general. Okay. Now let me head back. Well, let me see what I can make first. Let me head on down to Monarch's Bluff for a second after getting my reward from here. Let me just tell them I'll rejoin. Sec. And just leave them. I will be rejoining. I'm just preparing for saltwater fishing because there's a bunch of saltwater at that spot. It's like a big old boat. Time will fly from fishing in that spot. Alright. So now, let me head on down to Monarch, and in the process I'll get my buff. I'll wear this cooking set just in case. And I just want to see what sort of bait I can make. Yeah. All right. Fish sauce.